So the first thing we need to do before we can get into full swing this semester is determine how to simplify fractions and how to do arithmetic with fractions. And this should be review, but just in case, we'll go through it. So first, to simplify fractions, you want to identify any factors other than 1 that are common to both the numerator and the denominator. And remember, factors are things that are multiplied together. Then you cancel out the common factor between the numerator and the denominator. And you repeat those steps until there are no common factors other than 1 left. So, take for example 25 over 125. We know that 25 is 5 times 5, and 125 is 5 times 25. So you see we have 2 5s here, so we can go ahead and we can cancel that 5 with the 5 in the numerator with the 5 in the denominator. Now we're left with 5 over 25. Well, 5 is just 5. It doesn't break down further. And 25 is 5 times 5. So now we have a 5 in the numerator and a 5 in another 5 in the denominator that we can cancel. So we cancel those. Now that does not leave us with a 0 in the numerator because that 5 is really a 5 times a 1. So what we're left with is 1/5. Now, some of you may have been asking, did we have to do that by doing all those steps? Well, no, because we could have started with 25 over 125. And as we said, we could just leave the 25 as 25 times 1 and just break up the denominator, which is 5 times 25. Now we have a 25 in both the numerator and the denominator, so we can cancel those 25s out, and that leaves us with 1/5. So either way is acceptable. Now, what about 42 over 60? Well, 42 is 6 times 7, and 60 is, among other things, 6 times 10. That's the easy one. So now we have a 6 in both the numerator and the denominator, so we can cancel them. And that leaves us with a 7 over 10. And that is fully reduced because there are no factors that 7 and 10 have in common. Okay, so how would we multiply and divide fractions? So to multiply fractions, we want to cancel out any factors that are common to the numerators and denominators, just like when we're simplifying. And then we multiply straight across. So you do numerator times numerator to get the new numerator, and denominator times denominator to get the new denominator. So if we look at 11 times negative 28 over 33, the first thing we can do is any whole number we can write over a 1 in the denominator. Why is that? The denominator tells us how many pieces we've divided something into. If we haven't divided it at all, then it's one whole piece, so its denominator is 1. So now when we look at this, we have 11 over 1 times negative 28 over 33 is 3 times 11. Now, we can cancel between the numerator of one fraction and the denominator of the other fraction just because they're multiplied together. So the 11s cancel. And remember, that leaves us with a 1 up here where this 11 in the numerator was. And so now we have 1 over 1 times negative 28 over 3. And we multiply straight across. So we have 1 times negative 28 is our new numerator. And our new denominator is 1 times 3. And so that gives us negative 28 over 3. Now at this point, you should pause the video and you should try to do this fourth example over here on your own. And when you're done, then you can restart the video and check your solution. So on this one, we have negative 4/5 times negative 15 over 14. So let's see. 4 breaks up into 2 times 2. 5 is just a 5 times a 1 if we want to. And let's see, 15 is 5 times 3. And 14 is 2 times 7. So now we can do our canceling. We have 2 2's in the numerator of our first fraction, but only 1 2 in the denominator of our second. So we can cancel 1 2 in the numerator with the 2 in the denominator. And we can also cancel the 5's, 1 in the denominator and 1 in the numerator. Remember, that leaves us with a 1 in the denominator of our first fraction. So then that leaves us with a negative 2 over 1 from the first fraction times a negative 3 over 7 from the second fraction. And now we just multiply straight across. So negative 2 times a negative 3 is 6, and 1 times 7 is 7. So we have 6/7 for our answer.